Warm days, but cool nights, according to the WVTT Severe Weather Action Team. Alexa, low temperature tonight, 46 degrees.
And it looks like we have some rain in our forecast, Jeff.
We'll have complete weather details straight ahead here on WVTT. WVTT's World Roundup. Japan is furious that once again U.S. military personnel are accused of rape in Okinawa. 2 sailors have been arrested, and Japanese Defense Minister Sachichi Morimoto says he'll issue a formal protest with the U.S. government and demand measures be taken to prevent future attacks. Since the mid-1990s, several U.S. servicemen have been accused of sexual assault in Japan. CNN's Alex Zolbert has the latest.
Troubling accusations against 2 U.S. servicemen here in Japan. Police in Okinawa say the men are accused of raping a Japanese woman early on Tuesday morning. The police in Okinawa give their names as U.S. Navy seaman Christopher Daniel Browning and Petty Officer Skylar Andrew Dozier Walker, both apparently 23 years old, both from the Fort Worth Naval Air Station in Texas. And this latest incident just further heightening tensions over the American military presence on Okinawa. Okinawa's governor today has called the incident beyond madness. Japan's prime minister says this should never have been allowed to happen. For his part, here's what the U.S. ambassador had to say here today in Tokyo.
This is a very serious matter, and it is the full intent of the United States government to provide full and complete and unequivocal cooperation to the Japanese authorities in their investigation of this matter.
Keep in mind, Japan has one of the lowest crime rates of any country in the world, making crimes like this that much more shocking. And to add to all of this, just 2 months ago, a U.S. Marine in Okinawa was charged with sexual assault. On top of that, still weighing heavy on the minds of many people there is the kidnap and rape of a 12-year-old girl by 3 U.S. servicemen back in 1995. Still, in terms of this latest case, we should point out the investigation is in the early stages and neither suspect has been charged at this point. Alex Zolbert, CNN, Tokyo.
2 down and 1 to go. Mitt Romney and President Obama met for their second of 3 debates last night, where uncommitted voters in a town hall format asked questions. Emily Schmidt has more on the candidates' answers.
For the second time, President Obama and Mitt Romney faced each other. For the first time, they faced debate questions from voters.
What is the biggest difference between you and George W. Bush?
Mr. President, I voted for you in 2008. What have you done or accomplished to earn my vote in 2012?
The town hall format meant no podiums, candidates out in the open, more willing to take aim at each other than they were in the first debate.
Here's what we did. There were a whole bunch of oil companies.
No, I had a question, and the question was, how much did you cut them by?
You want me to answer
How much did you cut them by?
I'm happy to answer the question.
All right, and it is?
Here's what happened.
Polls showed Mitt Romney coming into this debate riding a bump in support after the first encounter. President Obama's campaign staffers had promised a more energetic performance, and both candidates let little go by unchallenged. Discussion grew particularly heated about Libya and who is responsible for the security of diplomats after the U.S. ambassador to Libya was killed in an attack last month.
It took them a long time to say this was a terrorist act by a terrorist group. And to suggest, am I incorrect in that regard? On Sunday, your secretary, the ambassador to the United Nations, one of the Sunday television shows, and spoke about how this was a spontaneous reaction.
I'm happy to have a longer conversation about foreign policy.
Absolutely, but I want to move you on.
The questions tended to come back to domestic issues like education, gas prices, and taxes, issues the voters said directly affected them.
And I will not, under any circumstances, increase taxes on the middle class.
I want to give middle-class families and folks who are striving to get in the middle class some relief.
The debate stretched 90 minutes. It has 21 days to impact voters. Election Day is just 3 weeks away. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
The investigation into this country's deadly outbreak of meningitis is continuing. So far, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has recognized 214 cases in a total of 15 states. Our Ed Payne has more.
Criminal investigators from the Department of Justice and the Food and Drug Administration searched the New England Compounding Center in Framingham, Massachusetts, Tuesday. Federal officials say more issues have been reported with drugs from NECC, which have been linked to a deadly multi-state outbreak of fungal meningitis that appears to be spreading. Most of the patients got sick after getting steroid injections for back and neck pain that were contaminated. But the newest infections are from drugs used in heart and eye surgery. Dr. John Jernigan with the CDC says more patients could be at risk.
Up to 14,000 people may have been exposed to one of the 3 potentially contaminated lots of medication. You may have noticed that the case count has gone up in recent days. We think this is mainly because we're doing a better job at finding the cases.
Dr. Donald Williamson with the Alabama Department of Health is tracking patients in his state.
Alabama now has 19 residents who received NECC contaminated steroid products. Again, those individuals were not exposed in Alabama. They received injections in Tennessee and Florida.
Federal officials confirmed they are investigating allegations concerning NECC, but did not elaborate. An attorney for NECC says the company is cooperating with the investigation. I'm Ed Payne reporting.
Coming up on the 6 o'clock report, a look at WVTT sports, and also on the way, some funny videos that'll have you talking. Take a look at this is on the way. Stay tuned. This is News Channel 25 WVTT.